Welcome to Property Mindset Solutions. My name's Christine and I'm here with Rick Traberg, a seasoned investor with an extensive property portfolio.
Hey boys and girls.
If you have any questions for Rick, please add them to the comments below. Today we're going to talk about a property that Rick bought in Frankston, Melbourne.
Okay, so it was my first property deal. It was back in 1995, so we're going back a little while. At the time I was actually saving for a Holden Commodore Executive. I had about $25,000 saved up, and a friend of mine was talking about a property, and this investment property that he wanted to buy and he couldn't afford it. He was telling me about it. I'm thinking to myself, that sounds okay. And I said, well, tell me all about it and how much money do you need and everything like that. And he said, I need about a 20% deposit, and he started to tell me about how the financing part of it works and things like that. So I thought, all right, let's go and have a look at this property. I didn't know anything about properties.
So this was your first property. What was your mindset at the time?
The money that I put into a property investment surely is going to make more money than me purchasing a brand new car. So that was my mindset. I was just like, should I, shouldn't I?
So a question for our audience. Do you have any property investments, or are you looking to buy property? Please would you put your comments in the spaces below. Rick, how much did you buy this property for?
This property was advertised for $130,000. We ended up making an offer on the property of $120,000. The offer was accepted. To do that deal, we needed to put in a 20% deposit. So 20% deposit of $120,000 is $24,000. So we needed to tip in $12,000 each into the deal, plus the closing costs, which were roughly around $4,000. So we had to have approximately $14,000 each. Mm-hmm. I had no experience in doing any of this, so it was a quick learning curve for me, yeah.
What was the economy like in Frankston at the time?
Okay, so it was 1995. I don't know how many people can remember back that far, but in 1990 there was a recession. So the economy of high interest rates, so just before the recession there was interest rates up around, people talk about 17%, roughly around those rates. Interest rates at the time was about 8.5% if you wanted something that was a little bit fixed, which a lot of people were going for fixed deals at the time because of the vulnerability of possible rates going up to 17% again. So you could pick up rates for about 8.5% at the time. Frankston was 4 flats that were really run down, probably an undesirable suburb of Melbourne. Unemployment was quite high during the start of the recession. In 1995, things had started to sort themselves out a bit, but people are still very scared, very vulnerable, because a lot of people lost a lot of money, lost their homes and things like that during the recession. Mm-hmm. In those days, things didn't turn around in economies quite as quick as they may turn around today. Things were a bit slower in those days. There wasn't the technology and the internet, and things just moved at slower paces. So it wasn't a great, you wouldn't call it a great economy. We're starting to have better days, if that sort of makes sense. But people still, there was a risk of high interest rates on people's minds, yeah. So I don't know, it was sort of an uneasy feeling, an uneasy time of feeling, but yeah.
So what was the opportunity that you saw in this particular property?
I didn't know what to look for. I was running through the numbers with my friend, and he assured me that things would be a relatively easy deal to put together. So at the time, out of the 4 properties, 3 of them were vacant. By the time we actually took the property over, only 1 was vacant, so we needed to go in and do some cosmetic renovations, painting, new carpet, fix some door cupboards up, handles on things, change some taps, which I knew nothing about. Honestly, I knew nothing about renovating. I knew nothing about anything like that.
And what were the challenges that you experienced, and what did you learn from these experiences?
So I had no experience, needed to learn how to do some renovation work, needed to learn how to use tools of trade for those renovations, about tenants, about property management. Also, my friend asked me that if we did go into this deal together, if I could look after all the bookkeeping of it and things like that, which I knew nothing about, so I had to learn a little bit about the bookkeeping. But I was running through the numbers, and basically the numbers were about a 12 to 13% return based on the purchase price numbers. Wow. Yeah, so it was, so it's a positive cash flow property, 8.5% interest rates. So to me, the numbers made sense for an investment, because the property was actually paying itself off.
And what advice would you give to somebody who's in a similar situation?
Find a mentor. My friend was my mentor in that situation, because I knew nothing about properties. get educated, and really just start as soon as possible, because the sooner you get in, the better off you're going to be if you want to be a long-term property investor.
Do you still own this property?
No. That was a mistake. Anyway.
Okay, well, you said that this property was a money-making machine, so why did you sell it?
The way I saw it was, okay, so 10 years later, we sold the property for $465,000. And I guess I saw that as, because of the $465,000 I had invested in that property, the rent roll on the property wasn't working hard enough for me. So what I mean by that is, I felt that the $465,000 wasn't giving me a return that I felt was good enough.
So how did the sale of this property set you up for the next deal?
Because I took the money out of that deal and we could put it into another deal, you're a larger deposit, which gives you the ability to do more deals. But realistically, I shouldn't have sold the property, because I could have redrawn that money anyway and done further investments with it. So yeah.
If you could do this deal again, what would you have done differently?
I would have refinanced the property, so I wouldn't have sold it. I would have added further value to the property by fully renovating each unit. And also, there was a large parcel of land at the back of the property. I would have put 2 more units at the back, which we actually went to council to talk about putting some units at the back. That property, if I had done that with that property, because the land was for free, there was a lot of equity. Well, it was all equity. We owned the property. Probably had paid itself off in those 10 years. We would have been able to get the finance to build the 2 units. It would have financed the renovation. It would have financed the build of the 2 units. But also, it's now the year 2018, so we're 13 years down the track. The rent roll from the 6 properties that we would have had there would have well and truly have paid itself off by now. And it would have been, based on a little bit of market research, that property today would have been returning roughly $100,000.
Wow.
Positive cash flow. We would have owned the properties outright, would have been returning $100,000, and for roughly $14,000 each, a total of $28,000 investment. Okay, I know it's 23 years down the track, but it's that would have been an amazing result if we had have kept the property.
Your cash return would have been through the roof.
Sure. By now it would be through the roof. Even at the time, it was pretty good. So yeah.
So if you're enjoying this recording by Property Mindset Solutions, please would you click on the buttons below and share it with your friends and family. If you want to know more about behind the scenes with Rick, go to our website, propertymindset.solutions, which we'll put in the link below. If you have any questions for Rick, please would you also add them to the comments, and we will get to them as soon as we can. Rick, what would you suggest someone look for if they wanted to buy a positive cash flow property like this?
Okay, so this deal is actually like you said, it's a positive cash flow deal. So it's a positive cash flow deal. So you got to understand your numbers. With this property here, I didn't buy it for growth. Actually, my friend always said it will go up in value. I didn't go into the deal for growth. I didn't know enough about property market. I didn't know enough about Frankston. I was extremely uneducated, so to me it just made sense. The property's paying itself off, so I'm thinking to myself, well, one day eventually you're going to own it. How hard can it be? People say, positive cash flow properties are hard to find. They come in all different shapes and sizes. They're out there. You got to look. You got to get started as soon as possible. Get educated, get yourself a mentor, and go from there.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Well, with that particular deal, if I had purchased a car, what would a car have been worth in 10 years' time? I'd imagine that if I paid $30,000 for a Commodore back in the year 1995, rather than an investment that obviously was worth $465,000. Words of wisdom in that situation, which is good for myself: refinance, don't sell, and keep moving along. That's it.
Thank you for joining us for our first recording. If you'd like to be notified about when we put up the next recording, please select the subscription button below and make sure that the bell icon is highlighted. Remember to share this with your friends and family. We'd love to know what you think, and make sure that you put your comments in below so that we can provide you the value that you're seeking. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks.